Hello. I feel like I'm messaging quite a bit right now, but I feel like things are happening in my life that I have to message you about. Um, so, anyone who knows me knows that camp is my thing. Camp has always been something that I have been so passionate about and so love, and I feel like kids here in New Zealand don't get that. And I'm not talking about I am talking about just normal camps, but majority of the camps I've gone to, or all the camps I've gone to one horseback riding camp that wasn't spiritual, but majority of the camps I've gone to is spiritual. And I've gone to youth councils, and we've gone to Acquire the Fires, and just mind blowing what God can do in these spaces. And so, anyways, the reason for this is, I've been saying I think change is coming. I've been saying to my home group, I feel like I need to do something with youth. Like, I feel like youth are just missing people coming alongside them, imparting and treating them like human beings, to let them know that they've got value and that they're enough and that they're special. And I try really hard to do that with my nieces and nephews that live here. And then when I go home, I try really hard to do that with the nieces and nephews at home. Actually, that reminds me, I've been trying to think of ways that I could touch my niece at home who I'm struggling to speak with, and maybe I could start writing her letters. I mean, it's a weird thing to do, but if I can't be in touch with her through like Instagram or whatever, maybe I could start writing her letters. Food for thought. Sorry, that just came into my mind. I have no idea what I would write to this girl, but yeah. Anyways, so I've been feeling like there's something, and I have a friend here whose daughter is cutting, and it's like killing me that she's doing this, and I want to send her for like mentorship, and I wish I could come alongside her and just do some fun, exciting things with her, and just let her know how special she is, and really build those relationships to keep going. Anyways, so church today. And now my coffee's cold, and it's in a cup that I can't actually put in the microwave, so I'm going to try to drink this really quickly too. So church today. Church at the moment, we're going through our mission, so we are called in Christ for community. I said this yesterday. I don't know the rest of it, but I'll learn it because every single sermon is on it. Anyway, so for community was today's one. Needless to say, it was all about Easter camps. So those of you who don't live in New Zealand, or maybe on this side of the world, because I think Australia's probably do it as well. Big things like Acquire the Fire. They do have those ones as well. What is it called? I've never been to one, and I've always wanted to. I don't know what it's called. They have a big thing with all these bands, worship, and some scriptures. I don't know what it's called. Anyways, so it's kind of like Easter camp is kind of like a youth council or youth camp. It's not quite like Acquire the Fire. Like, they don't bring in special bands for it or anything. Anyways, it's normally a 3 or 4 day weekend. It's over Easter. And I've never been, but I imagine it's like a youth council or camp where you go and you have sessions and you have worship and you do some fun activities, and God meets you there in extraordinary ways. Absolutely extraordinary ways. Yeah. Anyway, so I have Thursdays off now, and I intend to keep having Thursdays off. And I've been trying to think about what I was going to do for Easter. I tried to think about, like, could I go away for Easter? What could I do? Because I just don't want to stay here and be stigma. Well, today's sermon was on Easter camp and how, as a community, how cool it would be if, like, it costs some money to be involved. It's probably like $120 or $150 to be involved. So it's not cheap to be involved. You don't get any payment out of it other than the fact that you get to be in this atmosphere of being used by God, but seeing how God is, like, speaking to these youth, how God is speaking to you. Like, it's just priceless. Like, there's no amount of money that can be put on these things. There really isn't. And I'm sorry, I'm doing a lot of this, like, spiritual stuff at the moment, and I'm not really, like, I'm not trying to make this about this space was supposed to be about fertility and all these other things are coming on, but in the end it's just ended up being about my life. Sorry, and this is such an important thing about my life. And I don't go to church on a Sunday. I struggle with church on a Sunday. I struggle with the judgment of being divorced. I struggle with the judgment of not having children. And it sucks because you know what? There's not people who actually says, oh my gosh, you're divorced. Oh my gosh, you don't have children. But it's because the awkward conversation when someone meets you is, do you have kids? Are you married? And that is what the devil has just completely and utterly got me entangled up in, that I can't get over to go to church. Now, I also know church is very overwhelming. It's a lot of people in one space. It can be overwhelming. Don't ask me how I'll go with Easter camp being like that. Don't ask me. Because it will freak me out. But I know I can do it and I can push through because it's something that's so important. Whereas, I don't know, youth are community for me. Adults are just so busy. And it's hard to navigate. Whereas youth are just, I don't know, let's go out and have some fun. Let's go bowling or mini golfing or arcading, or let's sit around and play a board game, or let's, I don't know. It's just, I don't know. For some reason, youth are so much easier for me to be able to, like, go and hang out with and impart with and just be with than it is with actual adults. And it's always been this way. Like I was saying to Grace, who is the acting youth pastor at the moment, who I've just emailed about helping out and attending in Easter camp in any capacity I could. I've always, I didn't want to go to college and careers because I wanted to stay hanging out with my friends who are all a lot younger than me. They're 3 to 4 years younger than me. And I wanted to stay in that group of youth because I felt like the college and careers wasn't enough. It wasn't enough fellowship. It wasn't enough. I guess I didn't feel valued or enough or important in that group with those people that were my own age, whereas I've always felt that with the younger generation. So I've always felt called. I've done youth camps. I've worked 2 summers at Camp Glen Huron in Ontario, and then I've worked as a counselor in Florida. I was a junior youth group leader for 3 years at my church. I did all these things, and I just love them. Like, I absolutely love them. But I've kind of lost that. I got focused on being a wife and potentially being a mom, and my job, which is working with younger kids, in hopes that I would be a mom, and so that's what I would do. But I don't know if those things are going to happen for me. I've got mustard seed faith that they will happen for me. And do I think that if I had kids, I wouldn't feel this need for youth? No. This need for youth and connecting with them and really just coming alongside them has always been something that I've felt like. And it's funny because I shared that with the home group as well. Like, I feel like there's something about youth, and that's why I hang out so much with my nieces and nephews here, that I love that my 20-year-old nephew will just call me up and be like, hey, I haven't talked to you in a while, do you want to hang out? Like, and he'll just come over and share a meal with me. He'll come over and play a game with me. You know, we haven't gone out and done anything in ages, but he's come to my house like 3 times now just for a meal after work. Hang out, have a chat. This is what's going on in my life. Like, love it. Love it. You know, I am baffled that this, and honored that this can happen. That I've built this relationship. And in no means am I saying it's perfect. But I just meet him where he's at and give him the time of day. So yes, so watch this space. I just emailed that about Easter camp, so we will see what happens. I am freaking out. Like, I'm so excited and so scared at the same time, which is how I kind of feel like it's 100% what God wants me to do. So I'm going to be praying about it, and that the finances will be there, and I'll be able to get a ride to and fro, and that God will just completely and utterly meet me in that place, use me in that place, and just help me to be able to touch these children. I had said a while ago, I haven't done it in a while, but last year at my old house, I was actually buying some art supplies for a group in, is it New Plymouth, I think, who do a mentorship program for girls. And they come alongside them and they do crafts and stuff, and they teach them about their value and that they're enough and anything. And I've always said, like, if I was to leave my job, that would be something that, if they were to offer me a job tomorrow, I would throw my job of working with children, being a teacher. I wouldn't care. I would go do that job because I see so much value in it. I don't even care how little the pay would be. And let me tell you, I love having the lifestyle that I love. I love being on $60,000 in a year, or $62,000 a year, whatever. It ends up being only like $40,000 after taxes, or, well, not quite $40,000. It ends up being probably about $55,000 or $56,000, whatever. We lose a lot of money in taxes. I think I make $1,100 right now, and I take home $932 or something. Like, I lose about $250 to $300 in taxes every single week. It's very, very expensive. I'm on one of the highest tax brackets. Well, not the highest, but I think I lose between, they've got brackets here in New Zealand. Under 15,000, it's taxed. It's not taxed, and then 15 to 30 or something is taxed at 14%, and then 12%, and then 30 to 45 is another bracket, which is like maybe 17%, and then 45 to 80 or something is like 23% or 26%. So I lose a lot in taxes, but it's not about the money, especially if I could work with youth. So yeah, I know that the passion is there, and I feel like it's a way that I could just, I guess, have worth and understand what my purpose is a little bit more, because I feel like I've lost that in early childhood. I feel like that was my purpose when I had the goal of like having children, but now people do come alongside children. Do I think it's as much? No, but I feel like it's really the youth that are being lost. Yeah, I can't really explain it, and I hope this makes sense, just like I hope my email made sense to Grace. But there's just something about youth that have been calling me, and have probably been underlying there the whole time. Yeah, I just want to be relatable, and I'm not this like hierarchy who's perfect, who knows everything. Because I'm not. I am someone who has real struggles too, and um, likes to go out and have a drink. Um, Likes to go have a fun time hanging out doing stuff. Like, I am just your normal, typical person, but I still have my struggles that I think are relatable. Um, yeah, and I still feel like I just want these kids to know that no matter where they're at or what they do, that they are enough. And yeah, they're going to screw up and they're going to make mistakes, but that's okay. That's all part of learning and growing. And they need to be supported and encouraged through those. And yes, obviously, there needs to be consequences and discipline, but within that love and encouragement and support, if that makes sense. Anyways, watch this spot and I will let you know if something amazing happens.